the meantime, let's check out a project that's been keeping Sharon Grech busy, a backyard gazebo makeover.
There is nothing like dining outside in the summertime. For us, this gazebo has been wonderful for over 7 years, protecting us from the trees, but it's definitely seen better days. So we've decided to build something a little more permanent. Now that's a big summer project, but for a simple little weekend project to get started, I think I'm going to revitalize my teak chair and table set. This was definitely the year to create a backyard oasis. After spending so much time inside, it's wonderful to come out, so I'm glad we built this new gazebo. It's actually not much bigger than we had before, but because it's more open, it feels a lot more spacious. So we're able to have fun with the zones and really change the configuration of the dining area and then create a nice little lounge sitting area. But because the gazebo looks so great, I really had to look at the walls or the fence around. So pressure washed everything, and then I used a semi-transparent stain in Chelsea gray on the side fence, but then to really draw your eye to the back, taking some tips from our interior design, I used a solid black to create sort of an accent wall. I really love how your eye gets drawn to that area now. Now for the dining table, that was a quicker weekend project. I really sanded all the weathered wood off the teak and then just used the classic oil stain in a natural color just to bring back that beautiful natural teak color. Got a nice area for a bar cart and a spot at the front to lounge with these two funky chairs that add a pop of color and let me enjoy this space day and night.
Sharon, your backyard space looks amazing, and I'm not surprised at all because I see what you've done with my front porch. We live out there now. You've got an eye for this, so thank you for showing us this beautiful space. Are you enjoying it?
I am so enjoying it. We all are enjoying it. I mean, I'm working out here a lot. It's like the dining room in your house. You know, it gets used for everything else. That's what's happening out here now. We sit out here all the time. It's an awesome space. So I was just saying that I'm going to put a propane heater maybe in the fall so I can extend it right to November.
Yes, very good tip. That would be a great thing. Now Sharon's going to show us how to make our own outdoor art, which is a great project and a thing to think about. So here's what you're going to need for this project. A 1 by 3 inch cedar cut to frame size. You're going to need some screws, arbor coat, translucent stain in the color natural, a paintbrush, a ceramic wall mounted birds, or anything you want to frame. Okay, Sharon, where do we start?
All right, so you know what? I just love that I suddenly have a feature wall out here, so I think that in itself was nice enough to frame. And by painting it black or staining it black, suddenly my neighbor's greenery that was hanging over my fence looks like art. So in my case, it's just a matter of adding a frame and then voila. So art can come in so many different ways. So like you might have beautiful garden with lots of beautiful colorful flowers, or you want to think just like you do in the inside, think about these beautiful little moments. So things that are functional like your lighting can be a sculptural piece of art, or you might put together a little collection of lanterns. Like I had these really cute little Moroccan lanterns that just add some light at night, some ambient light, but that can become art. So there's so many different approaches that you can take on the inside and on the outside, so you want to really think about that. But for making a frame, I thought this was a really simple project that anybody can do, and we can talk about different things you can frame. But first of all, if you're doing this outside, you want to use a solid wood frame. So you can buy them already made, but because of the scale that I was getting, it was kind of looking a little bit too expensive for the outdoor. So I found that you can get a piece of 1 by 3 cedar, like an 8-foot piece, for just over $5 at the lumber store. So that's an awesome thing that you can kind of create yourself. You can get them to cut it to size. But what I did, Tracy, to get a sense of the scale was I used my good old green painter's tape and just masked out how I wanted it to look on the wall before, and then measured so I knew how much wood I needed. So again, that's just a nice little simple step. And it was actually bigger than what I thought because it is a pretty big scale out here. So again, I've got my 1 by 3 cedar. Use lots of different ways that you can approach putting it together, but I just wanted to go with a really simple butt joint. So it's just when a butt joint is when the wood just kind of butts up to each of the flat ends, as opposed to the miter, which is a little bit fancier. So if you have a miter saw and you want to get into that, go for it. I was trying to keep my life simple, so I just sort of attached it very, very simply. One little tip for you though is if you do pre-drill some holes on the outside, it makes it easier to put the screws in. So you can just really fasten it with a screwdriver in that case again. So nice and simple. Now, cedar is a great wood, obviously, for the outdoors. It weathers beautifully to a nice silvery gray, but I wanted mine to stand out and tie in a little bit more with some of the teak elements that I have. So I used a teak stain. It's a translucent stain, so it just kind of livens it up, adds a little bit of punch to the stain. But you can get these little sample pots, and they're actually just enough for a small project like this. So I had the teak. I also tried a beige gray, which you can sort of see it just adds, you know, a little bit of a more rustic look to it, but I decided to go with the teak. When it comes to putting it together, I used a French cleat to attach it to the wall. So you put one piece on the back of your frame, one onto the fence surface, and then attach it. I had two. I leveled them out so that they can sit nicely onto the wall or the fence in this case. But then it's what you're framing. So of course, in my case, I like the greenery. What you could do though is I had my daughter use some exterior latex paint that we had lying around. You can get these wood panels at the art store, so they're just artist panels. If you paint every surface of it, it protects it. So Megan painted up a cute little flower, I was going to say a flower portrait. I guess it could be a flower portrait of the flowers that I don't have out here. So that would be a lovely thing to frame as well. But I just framed my cute little swallows that remind me of my trip to Portugal, where there was ceramic animals and birds all over the place, inside and out. So that's my staycation.
I think that is such a good idea, and just framing out that little moment in the yard, it gives your eyes a place to go to, and it's just something pleasant, especially if you're working out there. And I love that you are all spending so much time outside in the yard. Thanks for the project, Sharon.